Greetings and welcome to Wellywood Wargaming. My name is Damon, and in this video I'm going to do something that I haven't actually done yet. Now, just quickly, I've been doing this YouTube channel for I think over 2 years now. I started it in Wellington. When I look at my old videos, they are horrendous. They give me the skeeves big time. I have to say, you know, it's always been a work in progress, and I'm really happy with where I'm at now within the little niche that I've sort of carved out for myself. I mainly talk about Necromunda. I would say that 98% of my channel is probably Necromunda focused. I do occasionally talk about other game systems like Blood Bowl, Mordheim, Aeronautica Imperialis, and some of the other great games that Games Workshop and others make. But I never really talked about what it is about Necromunda that I really love, why I think that you should play it, and why I bang on and harp on about Necromunda so much and make so much content around the game. I never really talked about this. Now, I just recently hit 1 million views across the channel, which I celebrated by having a holiday, 2 weeks on the beach in the Sunshine Coast. It was great. I got to clear my head and just sort of hit the reset button over the Sanguinala period. And I came back thinking, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I just haven't done yet. And some of it should have been really obvious, but there's a whole bunch of things that have kind of stood out to me as stuff that I just haven't really talked about when I really should have done. And the main thing that I haven't talked about so far in all of the Necromunda content is why I love it so much. So what I'm going to do in this video is talk about the 10 things, I think that's 10 fingers, 10 things that I love about Necromunda. If you're new to Necromunda, this video hopefully will be helpful for you as I give you some of the immense amount of passion I've got for the game of Necromunda. If not, and if you've been following my channel for quite a while, you'll probably be thinking, Damon, why on earth didn't you do this video before? I should have started with this, so we're going to start with it in 2025, the top 10 reasons why I love Necromunda and why I think it's the best game system that Games Workshop has ever made. So, pour yourself a lovely glass of Amasec, spark up a low stick, and let's get into it. Necromunda is set in the dark dystopian underworld of a massive hive city, where power struggles, gang wars, and personal ambitions play out against a backdrop of decay and oppression. The lore of the game is rich and vast, with each gang having its own history, motivations, and rivalries. Players can immerse themselves in a world filled with corruption, betrayal, and survival, giving every game an emotional depth. This detailed setting allows for endless storytelling, where the actions of players contribute to the ongoing narrative of the Underhive. So first and foremost, the lore is the main sort of draw for me. You know, if I compare this quickly to the 40k sort of setting generally, this is about the little guys. It's not about the big armies of Space Marines or Tyranids or whatever. This is about the everyday average Joe that works in a manufactorum. Maybe he's a little cultist on the side and you don't know about it. The reason why I love Necromunda is the lore is just so rich and dense, and Games Workshop have done a fantastic job of giving us such a detailed and beautifully grim and gritty, real sort of world to play our games in. And honestly, I think the lore and the setting and everything that they've built so far since way back in Confrontation days has just been the best lore within the 40k universe. The world building potential with Necromunda is just immense. You know, you've got arbitrators who act kind of like dungeon masters. It's an RPG in the 40k universe. There's so much depth and rich stuff to get your teeth stuck into. I just don't think anything comes nearly as close to it. Again, you might disagree with me on this, but these are the reasons why I love Necromunda. And honestly, the lore and the setting of Necromunda on just one little spinning globe in Imperial space, on one little hive right down the bottom where you've got the absolute dregs of society, I just find it much more relatable than, say, a Space Marine or a Tyranid or a Necron. For me, it's just a brilliant setting. Miniatures. One of the most standout features of Necromunda is its miniatures. The gangs are filled with character, offering not only fantastic models to paint, but also opportunities for creative customization. The detailed sculpts let players express their vision for each gang member through conversions and kit bashing, creating entirely unique models. Whether you're designing a new leader or outfitting a ganger with rare equipment, the possibilities are nearly endless. The creative freedom is a big draw for hobbyists who love to spend time crafting and personalizing their miniatures. Since way back in the day, Necromunda has always had excellent miniatures. Back in Confrontation days, we had some really cool stuff, but that wasn't quite Necromunda yet. When Necromunda actually fully dropped in 95, we just had the coolest looking dudes. The Goliaths, big muscle-bound dude with Mohicans, looked very much like wrestlers of the 80s, like the Ultimate Warrior or Legion of Doom. I fell in love with it back in the 80s and 90s because that sort of style was just so cool back then. And they've carried it through, and honestly, the most recent iteration of Necromunda, I think, personally, especially if we're talking about Forge World miniatures, are just the single best sculpts in the entire Games Workshop range ever. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, absolute hats off to the Games Workshop crew for doing what they do with these miniatures. But not only that, we've got an absolute plethora of other stuff that you can do in terms of hobbying, I suppose. So, you know, for those of you who kit bash a little bit, even if it's just a head swap here and there or a weapon swap here and there, the options are absolutely limitless. Any model you want to use in the entirety of the universe can be used in Necromunda, provided you tell a little story with it, I suppose. So, honestly, every model is a Necromunda model, and that is another reason why I love Necromunda. The scenery and immersion. Necromunda doesn't just use terrain, it thrives on it. The multi-layered vertical terrain full of catwalks, industrial ruins and claustrophobic corridors creates a unique battlefield. This setting isn't just about fighting on a flat surface, it's about using the height and density of the terrain to your advantage. The immersive nature of the scenery creates tense, tactical gameplay that makes every encounter feel different. Customizing and building your own terrain becomes a vital part of the Necromunda experience, offering more than just a physical layout, but a way to shape the stories you tell. Now, the actual official Citadel Sector Mechanicus or Zone Mortalis that you can use with Necromunda is amazing. It's a little bit expensive, but it is amazing. The level of detail is so cool, and it's all modular. You can create millions of different tiles. Every single tile is going to be different every single time you do one. But you don't have to even use that. You can craft like Blue Peter back in the day. You can craft out of, you know, toilet rolls and all sorts of cans and pots and pans or whatever you want to use. You could even use Lego. But the fact that you're using multi-dimensional, tiered, leveled sort of stuff that you can actually get down onto the table and look through little gaps and find those little firing lines, that elevation just makes all the difference for me. When you compare it to something like 40k, where the terrain is quite sparse and the tables are quite large, with Necromunda, I just feel there's an extra level of immersion which the terrain gives you just by having all those little tiny little holes and walkways and just cool stuff, shady little corners that you can hide your gangers in the game. And that is another reason why I absolutely love Necromunda, the immersion of the scenery and the terrain that you utilize in your games. Customization and character building. Necromunda excels in offering deep character progression and customization. Each gang member starts with a basic set of skills and stats, but as they survive, or don't, they can level up, gain new skills, or suffer permanent injuries. This makes the game feel like a living story where your characters grow and evolve. The RPG-like progression system ensures that no two games are the same, as gang members develop their own unique skills and personalities over time. Pair this with the opportunity for kit bashing, and you're looking at a game that allows you to tell your gang's story in ways no other game can. Like I said, every model is a Necromunda model, but within that, you've also got that ability to be able to tell a story, especially if you're playing gangs like Outcasts or Venators, where you can just use a whole bunch of ragtag models and really give them personality and flavour and character, and that is another reason why Necromunda is such a great game over other game systems in the Games Workshop line. The depth of rules, scenarios, and options. The rule system in Necromunda is comprehensive, offering a wide variety of tactical options. The game's design ensures that decisions matter, with alternate activation creating tense moments of decision-making throughout the game. No one knows what their opponent will do next, and that creates a dynamic, reactive playstyle that keeps both players engaged. The sheer variety of available scenarios also adds to the depth, ensuring that no two battles ever play out the same. Whether you're engaging in a street brawl or a daring raid, there's always a new challenge to overcome. Necromunda's rules are vast, and that can be a little bit off-putting for a lot of new-time players to Necromunda, but honestly, once you get really into it, as I have, and my brain is a bit encyclopedic for rules and stuff, so it is a bit easier for me. Once you get into the absolute wealth of stuff that you can chew through with Necromunda, it's so rewarding. Yes, there are lots of conflictions. Yes, there are a few rules that really don't make a lot of sense, but that's where the Arbitrator comes in, and that's where you can really take the game and make it your own and edit and customize the game to play how you want to play it. And honestly, it's such a rewarding system for that. To add to that, we've also got, I think, 200 to 300 different scenarios that you can play in Necromunda. And honestly, you could play, I don't know, 5 different campaigns and still not play the same scenario twice. So there are so many different ways you can play it, and also different matchups and different gangs to add to that. So you literally are never playing the same game twice. Community. The Necromunda community is one of the most passionate and engaged groups of players around. Whether you're looking for advice on painting, crafting custom terrain, or organising narrative campaigns, you'll find like-minded enthusiasts online and at local events. The community thrives on creative collaboration and the shared love of the game, making it easy to find inspiration and support. The sense of camaraderie is an important part of the Necromunda experience as players come together to expand the world and share their unique stories. I've played lots of different game systems, some Games Workshop, some non-Games Workshop, and honestly, I may be biased here, but I think the Necromunda community is the healthiest, least toxic, and most friendliest community out there. I've seen what goes down in Warhammer 40k and Kill Team forums, to name but a few, and honestly, the level of brotherhood and camaraderie in Necromunda is absolutely far beyond anything else. I can't see anything that even scratches the surface of the Necromunda community. So a massive shout out to the Necromunda community that I am a part of. I'm a very proud and active member of this Necromunda community, and it feels like a brother to me. Without this community, I wouldn't have as much love for the game, so thank you to everybody that makes the community what it is today. Emphasis on fun over competition. Necromunda isn't about strict competition or achieving perfect balance. Its focus is on fun, narrative-driven gameplay. Necromunda is deliberately unbalanced, which actually enhances the experience. It encourages players to embrace the chaos, where losing a favourite ganger or facing insurmountable odds can be just as fun as a victory. The unique nature of each gang combined with the game's emphasis on story means that each battle contributes to a larger narrative, where both success and failure play important roles in building the lore. Necromunda is very unbalanced, and this can be quite jarring for someone coming from something like Kill Team or AOS or something that usually is fairly balanced, but just like Blood Bowl, that imbalance is what makes it so much fun. The fact that you can be completely up against it, that something small might happen that turns the tide and you somehow win against the odds, is so much more rewarding. And I think the lack of balance in Necromunda really is something that is beautiful about the game. Arbitration and tailored campaigns. An arbitrator, often a neutral third party or a dungeon master for want for a better term, helps guide the story, making sure that the campaign feels personal and relevant. Whether you prefer highly competitive matches, story-driven missions, or a more relaxed casual game, Necromunda adapts to your needs, and this flexibility makes it one of the most versatile tabletop games where the experience can be shaped based on what your group enjoys the most. I've been arbitrating campaigns since '95, and I've always tried to make the most fun, immersive, and rewarding experience for the players in my campaigns. It's no good if I'm just doing something that suits me and doesn't suit my players. I'm always looking for feedback from the players in my campaigns, and so far I've got a pretty good track record with it. I just think that the fact that you can tailor Necromunda as you go, you can find out each campaign what worked, what didn't, and keep on tailoring until you get the absolute best experience possible for you and your players. Games Workshop's ongoing support. Games Workshop has consistently supported Necromunda with regular releases and updates. Whether it's new gangs, campaign expansions, or revised rules, the ongoing support keeps the game fresh and evolving. This long-term commitment ensures that the community has new content to look forward to, making the game feel dynamic and alive. With regular updates and the addition of new elements, Necromunda is a game that's built to last, and it ain't going anywhere anytime soon. I feel like with this version of Necromunda, it is so expansive that it actually kind of surprised me at first. The amount of content that we have, the amount of books, the amount of models, the amount of Forge World stuff that keeps coming out, you know, and then community stuff like the Apocrypha Necromunda articles over on the Warhammer community website. It is endless. The support has never been anything other than brilliant from Games Workshop. So I have to give my hats off to Games Workshop for creating and supporting a game that has lasted for quite a few years now and doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. There's so much to explore within the setting, and I really do confidently think that Games Workshop views this as their baby of sorts. I feel like someone at Games Workshop loves Necromunda just as much as I do, and they're not going to let go. They love this game and they just want to keep on supporting it. And with passionate people like myself and other creators out there in the community, we're helping to carry on this beautiful, beautiful game that is Necromunda. Lastly, the thing that keeps me coming back to the game and falling head over heels in love with Necromunda over and over again is the randomness and the little things that happen in games of Necromunda. I've played many, many different systems, whether it's 40k, fantasy, Blood Bowl, whatever. They all have an element of randomness to them because they're probability based with dice, etc. So you do get that in other games as well. But with Necromunda, for some reason, those little fails and those little hiccups and things that can happen in a game that are unexpected due to dice rolls or mechanics that interact in unique ways make Necromunda much more rewarding and immersive in that way. I do feel like these random acts of devilry, let's call it, happen more in Necromunda, and that is another reason why I love this game so much. Anyway, it's 2025. Who'd have thought I'd be here 2 years later with a fairly successful channel that is just about the one game that I really love in my life, which is Necromunda. And it's brought me so much pleasure through my entire life since I was a teenager, really, back in the 80s, 90s when Necromunda came out in 95. I remember those games so much with my friends back in 95 and 96, 97. And it just never gets old or tired for me. I love it so much, and I hope that my passion for the game can be infectious to you, and you can, you know, if you haven't played Necromunda before, hopefully this seals the deal for you and you go and buy your first gang box or something. Otherwise, if you've been watching my channel for a while, just a massive thank you for supporting me so far. It's been a hell of a ride, and it's only going to get better from here. So that's it for now. I'll be back with another video real soon. Peace out.